All right, Streets and Scholars, Alex Alonso FG, here to bring you guys another banger. And I'm here again with the East Side General. How did everything go, man, over the weekend for you?
Oh man, everything was smooth, man. The prom was awesome. I seen all my kids and grandkids, man. Family came through. A lot of Patron, a lot of margaritas, man. We had a good time, good laughs, man. That's what's up.
Did you have that Laker game playing in the background?
Oh, no doubt. The boys was in there, man. They was on it, man. They was running from one room to other doing this, watching the game, So yeah, it was all good, man. I had a good weekend, man.
Yeah, man, and I was basically posted up with the family too, but we had that Lakers game going on, and it looks like the Lakers is going to take it from the Golden State Warriors. They're up 3-1 the last time I checked.
Hey man, listen, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I didn't think they were gonna get it done like that. So they win them tonight, man. It's over. So I'm hopefully they gonna get it out the way, man. They may wait to not wait, but they playing up in Golden State, so Golden State may bring a new energy tonight. But hopefully we get it done no later than next game. Take your mute off.
Yeah, I got muted for a quick second. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, for some reason you sound a little different right now, but we'll figure it out. But
Yeah.
yeah, the Lakers got blown out in that game too, and I didn't think there was any hope for them when that blowout came. But then they came right back with another blowout, so they evened it up on that blowout.
No doubt. They match energies, man. It get tiresome out there, that blew out, made them feel some kind of way. So of course they came back with a newfound energy. I just hope they don't come out tonight saying we up 3-1 and take it for granted. I hope they go and try to close it out. But like I say, they are up North Cali, so it's gonna be a whole different energy in that arena.
Yeah, but I don't see. I mean, they would have to win three straight, right? Golden State to beat the Lakers now since they're down 3-1.
No doubt, but it's been done, I think, a time or two, no doubt. But I don't think the Lakers gonna go for that at all. But like I say, man, I'm happy to see them go this far. Happy to see them doing their thing, man. So I've been a Lakers fan my whole life. So I'm definitely pulling for them, no doubt about it.
Okay, I want to get into a couple topics here. We're gonna start off with just a quick update on Eric Holder, but I was having a slight technical difficulty here.
Mm-hmm.
But your boy Eric Holder is still in reception. He's still in Delano, and I guess he's still getting classified. And it's been over a month, but I guess that's normal because I think when you spoke about it before, you said that it could take up to 3 months or even longer than that.
No, no doubt. I never seen it take 3 months, but it can take that long. Like I say, with the population of California prisons, man, people don't know that these prisons in California is flooded. So, we have 41 prisons, I believe it is, man, and they all flooded. So they just trying to find a spot for him, get him there. And but I know he's miserable with where he at right now, man, because it ain't no movement, ain't really no commissary, ain't no, things of that nature, man. So I know he can't wait to get out of there to get to the yard for sure.
Yeah, is it sort of like you're in solitary confinement, or you're living pretty much dorm life, if I remember correctly?
No, you live in cell life. You know what I mean? On his level, you live in cell life. They not gonna have you in the dorm and reception pretty much. Or when I went through reception, they didn't have you in no dorm at all because everybody is classified different. You may be in there with 2 years, but it may be somebody else in there with 60 to life. You know what I mean? So they not gonna just have you guys in the dorm and without. That's the whole thing about reception, to classify what class criminal you are and what kind of yard you gonna go to. So they basically keep you locked down, pretty much, unless you go on a chow, or they may give you a little yard time here and there, but it's nothing serious. Like I say, you could be in the dorm. I wasn't. but it's everybody going different places with a different amounts of time. So, that's how that should go. But I'm sure they sell living in the reception, especially in Delano, Tehachapi, Wasco, those places pretty much you in a cell.
And if somebody wanted to do something to Eric Holder because of what he was convicted of, you still have the same opportunity, even though he's in reception at the moment, right?
You still got the same opportunity, but at the same time, you still probably on a 3 or 4 yard situation while you're in reception, so you still may have a gun tower in the unit. You still may be under, under the gun, while you're in reception. So some people may not take that time at that moment to try to jump out on you because, like I say, that gun pointing down at you. So, a couple people going to rethink that situation and say, maybe we could try it later. But reception where I was at, like I said, I was in reception at Tehachapi, and they wasn't really playing over there. You had action, but not like people think, plus you're uncomfortable. You're in a jumpsuit. You got some little flimsy little shoes on, it'll be a better opportunity at a later date if somebody really want to try to get him to the best of their ability.
What's the likelihood you think of something happening to Eric Holder over the Nipsey situation? Is prison just a whole different way of living, or I guess he can get it the way a lot of his fans think he's going to get it? People are saying that this guy's not even going to be able to survive, a year of prison. He'll be dead within a year or two. I mean, is that really likely?
Well, I mean, it all depends. It may be a few dudes that few gangsters that rally around him, and band with him and ride with him. You know what I mean? So you never know, so it's going to be the prison politics, and it's going to vary from yard to yard. One yard he can't walk on, the next yard he may be welcome with open arms. So it's definitely going to fall on which yard he falls on in order for how the program gonna go. Say if he fall on the yard full of, and I'm just throwing this out there, I can't say this for sure, I'm just saying, say if he fall on the yard with a bunch of A-trays, you know what I mean, they may say, shit, you good over here, you know what I mean, so say if he fall on the yard full of Inglewood families, you know what I mean, they may say you good over here, you know what I mean, and so you never know where he might land and how he might fall and who on that yard regulating shit. So it may not go like people think it might go.
Isn't the neighborhood crib card that the 60s are from probably one of the deepest cars in prison?
Yeah, no doubt. But at the same time, it ain't every crip in the world responsibility to ride for this cause. You know what I mean? People been killing people for a long time. And yeah, of course it was Nipsey Hussle, but at the same time, he was still a man and he was still a 6-0. So at the end of the day, man, like I say, you never know how the chips may fall. And then not to mention him knowing that, he got a target on his back, he might keep 2 or 3 knives with him. You know what I mean? He might, feel the energy from somebody, negative energy for somebody, and he might take off on them, so I wouldn't be surprised if he stabbed a couple dudes before they got to him, so it's hard to say how the cookie gonna crumble, but at the same time, man, we definitely gonna be listening from the streets. You got muted.
Oh man, that was an automatic unmute. But what I was saying is, if he hits that prison yard with the same type of energy and that same type of demeanor that he had when he walked through that alley that the shell camera caught him on when right before he did what he did to Nipsey, he should be good in there, shouldn't he?
I mean, no, because you still got numbers. It all depends. If 10 dudes come at him, 4 dudes come at him, it's hard to fight off 3 dudes with knives. You know what I mean? So, like I say, depending on who ride with him and who don't, and no matter how much energy you have, numbers is something special. You know what I mean? 3 dudes come at you with a knife. It's hard to defend that. It's hard to fiend them dudes off. You know what I mean? You may get 1, you may get 2, but eventually, it's gonna be a hard fought battle. But I think they strategically going to place him in a spot where dudes want to go home, or dudes don't want no smoke, you know what I mean? Or dudes ain't even tripping like that based on their situation. You know what I'm saying? You got to realize it's a lot of dudes that want to get back to their family. So a lot of dudes gonna say, man, that shit don't got nothing to do with me, man. You know what I mean? I'm trying to program, get back to my kids, get back to my mama, get back to my wife or whatever, get back to my freedom. You know what I mean? So what Eric Holder got going on, man, ain't none of my business. You know what I mean? Say, for instance, if I was in there and he came through the unit, you know what I mean? I mean, I don't have no words for him. You know what I mean? Not saying that I would befriend him, but I don't have no negative words for him. You know what I mean? That ain't my business. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a whole lot of dudes and other Crips and neighborhoods and all that going to say the same thing. You know what I mean? And you going to have some Crip dudes. Nip ain't never did shit for me. You know what I mean? He ain't never sent me no money. He ain't never, put in work for my hood. You know what I mean? And that's just the reality of it. You know what I mean? So, like I say, man, I definitely was a Nip fan, just like a whole lot of people. You know what I mean? Love his music, man. He really, he spit the truth in it through his music, man. And I like the way he did it. But at the same time, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to just be like, that ain't my business, And then, like you say, the shit that happened in the county jail, it could be some dudes that don't have nothing to do with shit LA period and just feel upon themselves, man. And I'm finna put this work in on this dude because he knocked down, what LA call a legend. You know what I mean? So, it's gonna be interesting, man, to see, how far. But I think they might. I mean, they gonna strategically put him on the yard where they think he gonna make it. Believe me.
Yeah, that situation in the LA County Jail was interesting because he was put into a tank in the LA County Jail that had all PCs, and it turned out to be a Latino dude that put hands on him. And then, from what I was told from one of my sources in the court, they asked the Latino guy, why did you do what you did to Eric Holder? This is a PC tank. We wasn't expecting any of that. And the guy just said, I was a Nipsey Hussle fan, straight up.
Yeah, but that's going to go different in the pen because he not going to have the authority, you know what I mean, to take off like that. You know what I mean? As people going to be like, dude, that ain't our fucking business. You know what I mean? He tried that shit in the penitentiary. His own people fuck around and stab him up. You know what I mean? Because for one, you causing a race riot. For two, that ain't our issue. Like I say, you can get away with that in the county jail. When you hit that yard or you hit them certain yards, because he definitely not going to no 1 or 2 yard for sure. You know what I mean? When you hit that 4 yard, it's a different politics up there. It's different rules. So I guarantee you a Latino cat won't try that shit on those bases when he get up there, so that won't be an issue. You know what I mean? So, but it's
now,
definitely.
Wait up. Let me stop you there and ask you, what if he's put on a PC yard with a bunch of dropouts, rats, and snitches? Then those prison politics play out differently, don't they?
Yeah, but you got to really understand that if a dude motherfucker's a rat, a snitch, or a prison dropout, then they done already decided that they don't want to be a gangster no more anyway. They done already said, my goal is to get home and go home. You know what I mean? So just because this dude was a PC at the end of county jail don't mean when you hit the yard that the PC is going to want to do something then, because they've been in prison. They want to go home. That's why they told. You know what I mean? They drop outs because they couldn't hold their mud with the homies or with their gang, while they was in there. So why you gonna go to a PC yard then try to be super tough on this PC yard, risk getting more time or risk getting sent back to a real prison? I don't believe it's happening. You know what I mean? I believe it's a rat, snitches and dropouts. Shit, he gonna walk the yard like it ain't nothing. You know what I mean?
Hey, what I'm hearing is going on these PC yards is that some of these dropouts are regretting or still wanting to be gangsters, and they turning up on these PC yards. There's like more stabbings, more assaults, and more fighting on a PC yard than there is on a general population yard now.
I mean, it should be, you know what I mean? It should be. But at the same time, you got dudes who, want to do their time easier and they feel like I'm going to go to a PC yard and do my time easier. And then you get down there, but it's still gangsters and killers down there. Even dudes that told. That don't mean they ain't no gangsters and killers just because they told. You know what I mean? Or they won't put in no work because they told. You know what I mean? But at the same time, man, you came in the game with integrity, man. You supposed to walk out the game with integrity, so you on the PC yard. From what I'm hearing is, if you hit the PC yard and you not a rat, you not a dropout, the PC dudes is getting on your ass is what's going on, Alex. You know what I mean? They don't want no solid dudes on their yard to say I didn't tell or I didn't, drop out. They, if you ain't like them, they got numbers. They gonna wear your ass out. Fuck you doing over here for? You know what I mean? Oh, you want to be tough, huh? So that's just how it, and it's like that in the streets. Think about it. You know what I mean? There's so many rats out here in the streets, homie, that they hate a solid nigga. You know what I mean? They hate a motherfucker that don't got no motherfucking schmud on their name. They just don't like them dudes. You know what I mean? And they outnumber us, tremendously. So for us to get out here and start trying to push a line on rats and dropouts and things of that nature, man, them dudes outnumber us, man, by a lot. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful what you're doing out here. You got to be careful what you're doing out there. Because like I say, just because a dude told don't mean he a punk. You know what I mean?
That's for sure. So Eric Holder still in reception in Delano. That's in North Kern County, I should say. And I'll be on top of it and let all the people know where they eventually transfer him to, for him to finish the rest of his quote unquote 60-year sentence, because we know he ain't gonna. Well, you believe he's gonna do that whole thing, but I think he's gonna get out early on that 60-year sentence.
Yeah.
All right, so I got an update on a guy's case that I was about to follow. I was going to follow this guy's case because I actually did his very first interview, and he caught a case back in 2021, and I'm talking about Jap 5. Now, you see Jap 5 right there. I did an interview with Jap 5. This was during the beginning of COVID. I believe this was 2020, this was 2020, and this is before anybody even knew who Jap 5 was. But then eventually he started grinding and he made a name for himself. But then bro caught a case that might have been in 2021 or 2022, and he just took a deal on his case. I looked up his CDC information, and he's eligible for parole in 2026.
Oh, okay.
So I guess let's just say he took a 4-year deal on whatever he was charged with. There was rumors that he was charged with murder, but apparently those rumors were untrue, because he is scheduled for parole release in 2026.
Oh, okay, man. That's what's up. Yeah, he'll be home in no time. Do you know what prison he in?
No, I didn't look up the prison he's in.
Yeah.
But wherever he's at, he's in. Let's see. No, he might not even be in reception, because he actually took this deal. He took the deal either in January or February. So now we're in. What are we in?
We're in May, right? May. Yeah.
So he probably hit his yard yet. I don't know where he's at, but he'll be coming home in no time. 2026 is right around the corner. When you in prison years, 2026 is like a few weeks. Right?
He's short timing right now. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's short right now.
I know. I'd be stressing out though if I got to go down, sit down for 3-4 years. But in prison language, especially for him, he's 24 years old. I think 25 years old.
Yeah.
So that's not nothing.
Yeah, that's a cakewalk for him.
Yeah, Jap 5 from 107, I believe it's 107 Hoover. He'll be coming home real soon. So all right, let's get into this video that was just released of Lil Meech. Lil Meech got caught with a gun at the airport. Did you check out that video?
I did check that video out.
Yeah. What stood out to you with
everything? Everything. You know what I mean? First thing stood out, like I say, was how quick he was to start talking. You know what I mean? And explaining. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, man, this was a prime example of what happens when dudes be getting caught, Alex. You know what I mean? And even though I believe he didn't know the firearms was in there. I remember Barry Switzer back when we was making a Super Bowl run. I believe that was 94. He got caught with a firearm in the airport, say he had used the bag that he had the gun in and put some clothes. He didn't know the gun was in there. I see this, it's happened to quite a few people, celebrities as well. You know what I mean? But at the same time, on this thing, Lil Meech, man, he made me look at him a little different, just based on the amount of explaining he trying to do. And bro, this is not the court. This is not the judge. These people can't do nothing but do their job, arrest you or whatever they have to do the little investigation to write the report, for you to go to jail. He made it seem like he was going to explain his way up out of this situation right then and there. These people don't care if you're an actor, a rapper, or a superstar. They don't give a shit. You know what I mean? But he was, man, I damn thought he was finna start saying, this is my mama gun, this is my sister gun. He just, you know, I know he was disappointed, but at the same time, it wasn't nothing he could say or do at that moment to make them people change their investigation for what was going on. So,
what I'll say is I'm going to play the clip, but what I'll say is that I don't think he grew up in the streets, even though his father was a gangster. His father's serving 33 years in the feds right now. But just because his father was a gangster, don't mean the son is built the same way. And he's very young, and he's an actor. He's a television actor. So I think you being maybe a little bit too hard on him, because that's probably the first time he's ever had handcuffs put on his wrists.
no doubt, but at the same time, Alex, you know, he should know, just being, you know, coming from a family, coming from his pops had homeboys who was gangsters. His pops was a stand-up gangster. You know what I mean? It just wasn't nothing you could explain right now. You know what I mean? That was gonna make these people stop doing the investigation, and everybody should know that. You know, not, you know, whether you're an actor, whether you're a civilian, whether you're a Christian, it don't matter. You know what I mean? Once you're under investigation for a crime, you know what I mean? At the moment, shut the fuck up, you know, till you figure out what they gonna do. It's no amount of explaining going to them to say, okay, well, we're gonna give you a gun, just take it back out the airport. I believe everybody know that's not gonna go like that. You know what I mean? And anything you say can and will be used against you in the process of you getting arrested. So I believe everybody, especially him, even if you actor like in movies as a gangster, you know what I mean? You know these rules. So you know, like I said, you know, maybe people be thinking when they told him, bro, you're being recorded. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to, you know, let up off of him, you know, based on, because he could have hurt himself or may have hurt himself with all the talking. But he definitely did a lot of talking.
All right, let me see if I can play this clip real quick.
Because that looks like there's firearms in it. I know, but unfortunately, there's certain procedures we have to follow. Anytime something comes in that's prohibited, correct? Right. So listen, you understand that, correct? Do you have your ID on you?
Sir, my ID's in my bag.
In the bag?
Yes, I'm a minor, sir. I have security guards. They left that in my bag, sir. I did not pack my bag.
Well, we can get that all straightened out after the fact, okay?
Thank you.
But until then, I have to put you in handcuffs until we figure this out.
Okay.
Okay, you understand that?
Can I call my mom or somebody?
We'll do that after.
Okay.
All right, just turn around for me. Be cooperative. Everything's on video and audio surveillance. Plus, I'm on body cam. You understand that?
Sure. Yes, I understand.
Okay. This is just for your safety and everybody else around you, because there's guns involved, okay, or possible guns. We have to confirm it. Okay, X-ray doesn't tell us 100%. Okay, just says there's a possibility, and that's what it appears to be. You understand? Do you have anything else on you at this point?
No, sir, I promise I don't.
Okay.
I'm an actor, sir.
No, I understand.
Man.
Do you have a concealed weapons permit or anything like that?
I don't, sir. They left that in my bag. My little brother's he was outside waiting for me, sir. I promise you, sir, that's not mine.
Okay.
I have security guards, sir.
Okay.
See how much jewelry I have on me?
Listen, that's okay if you got that. The problem is bringing it into the checkpoint.
Sir, but I would
just
never
have a seat
do that.
for me.
My mom's a fighter.
Just have a seat.
I would never do that, sir. I promise you, man. I went to private school. I'm a good kid, man.
I'm not saying you're bad. Have I mistreated you or anything?
Not at all. Not at all, sir. I'm just trying to tell you, sir.
But you understand the severity of what is occurring, right?
I would never do this. I fight every week.
Listen, if what you're telling me is true, we can work things out.
Yes,
okay?
Please, sir, please. I'm working.
But there's procedures we have to follow.
All right.
It looks like
I think we got the point on that, right? FG.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's a good kid, huh?
Yeah, what did he mean by he's a minor?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That I'm glad you brought that up. I looked up his birthday. This happened in 2022. He was born in 2000, so that would have made him 22 years old.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to get sympathy from the TSA agents, and maybe they was give him a pass. But nah, they're not. They're very strict when it comes to guns. But I was surprised. I looked up some of these gun cases. Mike Epps got caught with a gun in Indianapolis airport this year.
Mm-hmm.
They just took his gun and let him go. They didn't arrest him, but they definitely took Lil Meech into custody.
Yeah, well, I know my kid's grandfather got caught with a gun in the airport. Same situation. Wife packed the bag, and the gun was in there, and he got to the airport, and they didn't arrest him. I mean, but he, never had been in handcuffs ever in his life. But I did believe that they took his firearm and he had to go to court and do a few things. I mean, I don't even think they gave him probation or nothing like that, just based on, worked for 35 years and, registered gun owner, was registered to him and things of that nature. So it do happen, and people do forget, me personally, I don't know how big a star I have to be for somebody else to pack my bags. It just seemed like I pack my own drawers and stuff like that, but it does happen, and we see it all the time. And I do believe it's an accident. I don't think they, dumb enough to try to slip a gun through the airport. I don't think that, but at the same time, once you're detained, you still have to, go through the procedures and shit, first,
Yeah. Mike Epps was detained in the airport earlier this year, maybe a month or two ago. And it says here they took his gun, but they let him go, which I was surprised. I thought that a gun in the airport is automatic arrest. At least, you're going to be in custody for a couple days until they figure it out, make sure your gun is legit. And they also told him, Mike Epps, in this article, how you can get your gun back. So maybe Meech was Little Meech was hoping that they wasn't going to put him in handcuffs, they wasn't going to arrest him, and they was going to just let him go his merry way. But it could be on a city by city basis. Mike Epps was that was in Indianapolis, and I don't recall where the Little Meech situation happened at. But I know if you're in Hartsford Airport in Atlanta, they're taking you into custody if you bring a gun in. And you're right, FG. There are so many folks that forget that they have a gun in their bag. This happens hundreds of times a year, where people forget they get caught with a gun at the airport. And we know most of these people are not intending to deliberately bring a gun on a plane. They just forget, man.
No doubt. And like I say, back when it happened in Barry Switzer and shit, I take that back. That was 1997 that happened. And but they arrested him. They arrested him, and different airports probably do different things, and that was way back then. Now they probably see it so much, and they really probably believe that people honestly wasn't trying to smuggle a gun through the airport. Honest mistake probably happen more often than not. So they may have different procedures based on, like you say, your criminal record, criminal background, and things of that nature. So it's a possibility that, like I say, it happened to Mike Epps and a bunch of other people. So how long ago did this happen to Lil Meech?
This was December of 2022, but they just released the video.
Right. Do anybody know the outcome of what happened in that case or the situation?
He was doing interviews on different radio stations after explaining that everything got sorted out. He didn't get charged or anything, but he definitely was taken into custody. I don't know how long he was in custody, but I think he explained it, and eventually it worked. The case worked its way out.
No, that's cool, man, that they didn't try to just railroad him, and take him under, on an honest mistake. Like I say, it is a difference between somebody trying to be slick and somebody, it's an honest mistake. So I'm glad he came out on top on that. But just for future references, people get caught with firearms or anything, the first thing you want to do is, you don't want to start explaining off the top. You want to at least see what the procedures they going to take, and if and take it after that. But like you say, a lot of people don't realize what you say can and will be used against you in the court of law.
So you think he was a little bit too chatty there with the TSA, trying
no
to
doubt,
wiggle his way out of that?
No doubt. And it's a whole lot of people, especially regular people. People that's not from the streets, people that, not from the hood. But I did expect more from him, straight up, no doubt about it.
Yeah, man. I think it takes a little bit of wisdom. It takes some. I know he didn't grow up the same way his dad did. So the way you grow up, you learn all this stuff. And I mean, this guy pretty much grown, I don't know, I would say a privileged life, but he definitely didn't grow up the way his dad grew up, having to sell, birds, kilos of cocaine across the country, from Atlanta to Detroit to LA, getting his hustle on it, so he's built definitely a little bit different than his dad.
Right, but the ironic part to it is this, you know what I mean? By him being that nervous and scared, it may have helped him. You know what I mean? They may have, just saw, man, this kid really scared, man. He really, you know what I mean? It could have helped him opposed to him shelling up and not saying nothing and waiting to do diligence. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that could have helped him in his case, but I'm just saying, from my perspective, I mean, motherfucker ain't doing no talking like that,
Yeah, he shouldn't have said anything. He should have just said, "Yep, take me to the room. What do we got to do? How do we got to handle this?"
Or like you say, I mean, he could have simply said, like, the first part, hey, it's a mistake. I'm not trying to, but other than that, yeah, you ain't got too much to say, man.
Yeah, man. I got caught with a gun in my car a couple years ago. I've told this story a few times. It was in a locked box, though. It was in a locked box on the back seat. And the cops were like, we want to open it up and just make sure it's registered. We want to make sure it's legit. And I said, nope, you're not opening it up. And then they had me cuffed for like 45 minutes. I just sat there, didn't say nothing to them, and they kept threatening me. One cop came over and said, we're about to get the bolt cutters out here, Alex, and we're going to break open your lockbox. I said, go ahead and bring them bolt cutters then.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up not doing it.
Yeah.
They use these little scare tactics to try to get you to cooperate, man. You just got to just stand firm on your principles. That's it.
No doubt, so many people do. So many people will not stand on a principles. What they do is they get scared, they get nervous, and they give that consent. And then when they do find something or find something else, now you can't fight your case because you gave a consent. So, like you say, man, you just got to stand strong. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. You know what I mean? Of course, if they would have popped that box open, it would have been a legal search and seizure. I have beat those cases as a felon, you know what I mean? Because I do have rights. I did have a valid driver license. I didn't have no open containers and I wasn't high. You know what I mean? So me and Frank DiGiacomo walked in the court 3 times and shut them down. Legal search and seizures. You're going to find faulty shit in the report because if it's a legal search, they're going to have to say something else happened in order for them to make it seem like it was warranted, and that's where they mess up at, So, so even as a felon, if you got driver license, registration, insurance, and no warrants, you don't have no open containers, no weed, and nothing like that, you still can fight your case. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they'll also try to tell you that they have probable cause. They always say that we got probable cause. Don't ever accept their probable cause. In my situation, when I had the gun in the back seat, I had opened up my glove box to give them my registration and insurance, and they saw the box of bullets first. Mm-hmm. And the cop told me that those box of bullets is probable cause to search your car. And I said, nah, it's not probable cause. Just it's a box of bullets. There's nothing wrong with a box of bullets in my glove box.
Right.
So I guess a lot of people or younger people or uneducated people might say, okay, you got probable cause. Go ahead, search my car. So never give in to any probable cause argument that they're trying to convince you as a driver or motorist, because if they're going to search your car and they think they got legitimate probable cause, they don't need your consent.
Right. No doubt.
Yeah. So shout out to Lil Meech, man. I'm a big fan of the show. I'm not going to be as hard on him as you are, because I know he's young. I mean, the dude was born, anybody born in the 2000s, boy. That's crazy to see someone's birthday 2000 to me.
Yeah, no doubt. And like I say, I'm glad he was able to, get out of that, just to be honest with you. Because I mean, he a good kid, seemed like, you know what I mean? I like the show and all that, man. So, I don't want to see him go down, but I know sometimes, like I say, you still gotta keep your mouth closed and shit, you know what I mean, in order to sometimes not go down, you know what I mean? So that's just what the rules are, of course he may not fall under the same rules, but at the same time, had they booked him, had they arrested him, had they made a case out of it, they would have wanted him to go back and explain all the shit he was saying. Well, you say your little brother did what? You say your mom worked where? You say you didn't gave him so much ammunition, you know what I mean? So that's the main thing I'm talking about, you know what I mean?
Now, how do you feel about, I'm almost certain that there's going to be people on the internet dragging him, probably calling him a snitch, a rat, because he did say, oh, that gun belongs to my brother. So he kind of threw his brother under the bus immediately. He is going to get a lot of backlash for this. What do you think about that?
Oh man, you know the internet is unforgiving. You know what I mean? So if nothing else, he gonna get clown. Hey, they gonna clown the fuck out of him. You know what I mean? They gonna clown him, man. You know, man, you scared to motherfucking death. You know what I mean? And people don't understand that these dudes be actors. So yeah, they may act tough in the movie or act a certain way in the movie, and you have this certain persona about them. You know, they character, but that's a character. You know what I mean? You know, so, but the internet is unforgiving. I suspect the memes to be out any second. I scroll on Instagram, the memes gonna be out, and but I mean, it's nothing, man. He gonna work through it and continue it, and I hope he much success, for the rest of his career, man.
No doubt, no doubt. I'm sure he learned a little lesson. If I was him and this video got released, I would have to admit I'm a little bit embarrassed of how I conducted myself with the TSA agents at the airport. I would have to admit, I probably spoke a little too much, and I was nervous. He's got to come clean on something like that.
No doubt. But this is the prime example. And I'm not trying to, like I say, hammer on the kid. I'm trying to show society that this is how a lot of y'all homeboys, gangster homeboys that's out in the street, busting their pistols, squabbing with you at the club. This is how they act in the police station. You know what I mean? I'm taking outside for what happened to account of Lil Meech. I'm just saying, give an example of why, y'all dudes out here running with these, these tough cats. When they get to the station, this is how they act. You know what I mean? So just take that into consideration. You know what I mean? Like I say, he's not a hood dude, but some of these hood dudes are going in there doing more talking than that. So keep that into consideration while you out here, running and gunning with them.
Yeah, definitely. All right. I want to move on to this really interesting subject matter that Snoop Dogg brought to light the other day. He was speaking at a panel on one issue, and then he kind of flipped the script and started talking about another issue.
Mm-hmm.
It was the issue of streaming music, and how come the downloads of streaming music doesn't equate to the selling of records as selling records did in the past. Usually in the past, if you sold 1 million records, you usually got $1 for every record that was sold. If a record cost $10, $15, usually got about $1 for each record sale, which I felt was pennies. If a record sells for $15 and you got one, that means everybody else got the 14.
Right, no doubt.
But if you sold 1 million, though, you got $1 million. But I think streaming is cutting the corners even more than record sales. Did you tap in with that Snoop Dogg video?
Oh, no doubt. I tapped in with it, man. And, Snoop was telling he was telling the truth. A lot of people don't want to speak on it, or a lot of people's voice ain't big enough to speak on it. But at the end of the day, listen, before streaming and downloading and all that, a lot of people don't realize music back in the day when, Run DMC and LL Cool J and all them was coming out, Eazy-E and all them, music was sold by lawyers. You know what I mean? It was lawyers that was running the record labels. It wasn't producers and things of that nature. A lot of the music was done by lawyers. Off that $10 per album, like you said, you got $1. And the executives and lawyers got the rest of the money. You know what I mean? So it wasn't till dudes like E40 and all them. I'm sure somebody before them, but E40 was one of the first dudes to say, I'm gonna sell my music out of my trunk. You know what I mean? Ice Cube had an album a couple years back. What he did, Alex, is he just sold it independently. Now, he only sold 500,000 copies, but he got all his money for each copy. So you rather sell 1 million copies or just say 4 million copies, you get $1 off each one. Ice Cube gonna sell 500,000 copies and he gonna get $15 off each one.
You know what I mean? All the money, right?
Yeah, exactly. You may not sell as many units, but you get more money. You know what I mean? So, do you want the fame or do you want the money? But at the end, but back in the day, before Suge Knight, the record companies didn't even own the masters. The lawyers did. You know what I mean? So Suge and Master P and all them was some of the first rap dudes to come through. I think Suge kicked that door open for the record labels to own their own masters in the rap game. And so once that was done, that's when the 100 million, they started making us $100 million. Master P, Birdman and his brother, they start Cash Money. They start getting the money. Now, That don't mean that they still wasn't scamming the artist though. You feel me? The artist has always been at the bottom. The artist has always been getting fucked at the end of the day. And they the ones who putting out the songs. Now, don't get me wrong. The producers get more money than the artists. So it's been a cold game. And when they came with the streaming, best believe before they came with it, they already found a way to fuck over the artists. You know what I mean? Because that's what they do. That's what, these big companies and corporations. And man, we could push your music across the nation. Well, if you push my music across the nation, but I can make more selling than just in California or Florida or New York or wherever I'm from and make more, I'd rather take less than to be known everywhere. But that's not the mindset of the artist. The mindset of the artist, I want to be big as I can be,
Well, I think there's an advantage to both of them. As you said, you get to keep all the profits when you're independently selling your records. But when you have a big label behind you that's distributing your music all over the world, that opens up other revenues too, because now you can go touring. You can go touring in Buffalo, New York.
Right. You're right.
Where nobody knew who you was, but now you can make 15,000 a show. So I think there's benefits to both sides. But the internet does allow you to be independent, but then also spread your message without a big company behind you. So
it's artists who've done it, but back in the day they couldn't. You know what I mean? There wasn't no way to get your music out. It had to be distributed through a label. It had to be come through Priority or Atlantic or, some of the bigger labels. It wasn't no such thing as like real independency because you didn't have an internet. You know what I mean? You had to run around and hand out flyers. You had to get your music known by word of mouth or, people, but nowadays somebody can drop a song today, man. I could hear from New York just by scrolling or tuning into the right account. You know what I mean? So, but Snoop is right. Maybe he's going to figure out a different way over there at Death Row. Maybe he's going to figure out something to make people come to him and they can get more money out of what they're trying to do. I don't know, but I'm all for seeing the artist. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to leave out the producer and all that, but, I'm all for seeing the people who actually making the music get the money.
Well, I don't know if Snoop has figured it out yet because in this clip, you can tell he doesn't know what the solution is. So let me run this clip, and then we'll talk about it real quick.
Somebody explain to me how you can get 1 billion streams and not get $1 million. Like that shit don't make sense to me. Like I don't know who running the streaming industry, if you in here or not. You need to give us some information on how to track this money down, because 1 + 1 ain't adding up to 2. That shit don't add up, and I have to say it because that's the main gripe with a lot of us artists is that we do major numbers with streams and this shit, but it don't add up to the money. Like what is the money? When I first came out, my records was still based off of physical. If you sold 1 million copies, that means if $9.99, $9 million, you get this percentage. That's what it is. So if I sell how many streams, how much money do I get? It's not being translated and it's not working for the artist right now. And I just want to speak to that in the music industry. Like that's up. And we need to find a way to figure that out. The same way the writers are figuring out, the writers are striking because streaming, they can't get paid. Because when it's on the platform, it's not like in the box office. In the box office, if it does all these numbers, you may get an up. Oh, it did this many, here's another check. But on streaming, you got 300,000 hours that somebody watched your movie. Where's the money? And I know I'm going off a script right now. This is business. Yeah. This is business. You know what I'm saying? This is a room full of business people, and somebody may hear this and be able to do something about it so that way the next artist don't have to struggle or cry or try to figure out how to get to his money. Because some of these artists are streaming millions and millions and millions and millions of fucking streams, and they don't got no millions of dollars in their pocket. So I just wanted to say that. Yeah.
Man,
I mean, can somebody explain to me how you can get a billion streams?
That is the best going off a script that I would say Snoop has ever done, because that is a serious topic that we definitely have to have more people address. And I hope he stays on top of this. I just hope that wasn't just a one-time thing, because if anyone could bring some attention to streaming, and not just streaming music, but streaming podcasts, streaming everything.
No doubt.
How do we get more money from the work and the creative side that we do?
Yeah, you know what I mean? And like I say, I definitely don't have the answer, but I do realize that these dudes are making streaming a lot of music. You know, all these artists is streaming all this music, and like he said, the money ain't adding up. What can be done about it? I don't know. Has it gotten too far out of control? I don't know. You know, but it's so much with this digital world that, rappers, artists, like he say, the movie writers are striking. You know what I mean? It's so much that they didn't understand and believe about the streaming aspect of it that, shit, they trying to figure out where they bread at.
Yeah, man. And eventually, I mean, this is still all new. Even though the internet has been out now for 20 plus years, this notion and this idea of streaming content, streaming music, streaming video is still relatively new, and it's still all being figured out. And I hope Snoop definitely stays on top of it, because we need not only a big name, but we need a big name from where we're from to advocate that the streaming is not adding up to the dollars.
No doubt, you're definitely right. So hopefully somebody can come in. So when we get to doing some streaming, our bread can come through too. Know what I mean? Shit.
And you don't need to stream millions and millions to make millions. If you stream hundreds of thousands, then you should be making thousands. If you're streaming tens of thousands, you should be making thousands. And if you're just streaming a few hundred, then you should be getting a few $100.
Yeah, no doubt. But I'm hearing that, some of these platforms, man, it take, 300 to 500 streams even just to make $1. You know what I mean? And that's wild, because out of those 300 to 500 streams, somewhere, some commercials in there that's paying for something. Where is that money going? Y'all sliding some advertising in between those 300 to 500 streams somewhere. So you guys are getting paid. Where's the cut for the artist or the producer or the movie actor, So you're absolutely right, bro.
Yeah, because it takes like a million views or a million streams on YouTube, which is slightly different from what Snoop was talking about. But a million views on YouTube might get you anywhere between $4,000 and $5,000. Now, I don't think that's a fair enough amount of money for a million views, because it's not easy to get a million views. If it's not easy to get a million views, you should certainly be making more than $4,000 or $5,000.
No doubt, but every time you on a YouTube video, it's a commercial in most of them. You know what I mean? So that means you guys are getting paid a lot more than 4 or 5. Y'all might make 4 or 5,000 off of one advertiser or two advertisers. So by the time a million come, you guys that made so much money, and then like you say, it's crumbs, it's pennies on the dollar. You know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, like I said, and it's not like, back in say 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where you can do a million views easy. Now so much content out there, it's hard to get to a million, so it's crazy, man. But that don't mean that they not still making money.
Yeah, they're still making some money. And I know that there's going to be some other video platforms. What I would hope is to see more video platforms competing with YouTube, so that YouTube is not just the only game in town.
Right.
We need like 5 other companies. But what happens is that you get these corporations like Facebook, Google, and whenever they see something nice, they buy it, because
they buy it.
YouTube was an independent video platform that Google bought up when they saw how they were blowing up. So I wish that YouTube would have just stayed YouTube. Imagine if the people that had YouTube were just doing YouTube without Google involved. We would definitely have a better relationship with the creators. But once you bring in Google, or you bring in Facebook, or you bring in any of these other major tech companies, they're definitely going to try to skim as much money as they can.
Well, listen, Alex, this is what a lot of people don't realize, though. Some of these big companies, like you just named, they'll buy a company just to get rid of it. You know what I mean? So you can have to go to their platform. They bought MySpace for all those millions of dollars, bro, just to dead it. So you could have to come to other platforms like YouTube. People don't realize that they bought Fatform, they bought Fubu, they bought Sean John, they bought all that stuff just to get rid of it. So you can go back to buying Levi's and the bigger names, a True Religion and all these other name brands. They will buy a company just to get rid of it so you can come right back to the source, the one source that you have, so you're absolutely right. When you get to talking about these major corporations like Google and Facebook, they pockets are just so deep. When you come around with something, they gonna buy it up, and sometimes the price is so good. I know people say, man, let me just make a decision for my family, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, man, once they buy that platform up from you and dead it, or they get behind it, you know what I mean? You put money back in their pocket and they controlling everything once again.
Yeah, that's what Facebook did when they bought Instagram up, and then they tried to integrate Instagram into Facebook by linking Messenger and doing all these things. And I'm like, I want my Facebook and I want my Instagram separate.
Yeah.
But they're trying to merge it in, and then probably, like you say, maybe a year or 2 or 3, Instagram will slowly just become Facebook again,
Right. You know what I mean? And you'll be doing the same thing on Instagram, but on Facebook, you know what I mean? And you'll be like, they won't even notice it. They do it so slick and smooth, So yeah, these big companies and corporations, man, they gurus at it, they professionals at it. And when it comes to that almighty dollar, man, they know how to put the squeeze down on.
Yeah, man. So I say I hope Snoop Dogg stays on top of this issue, being that he's one of the biggest artists out the West Coast, because that'll definitely help everybody who's in the streaming business, who's in content creation, because it's all about streaming now. That's where most people are getting all their content, whether you're watching Netflix or Amazon Prime. Like all my TV at home is streaming. I don't even get live TV. I got to figure out a way to stream. I wanted to watch the fight the other day, Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
I don't have Showtime. So what do? I download the Showtime app to my Fire Stick, and I purchased the fight through the app, and now I'm streaming the fight on my TV. So it's great. Everything is streaming now.
Right.
All right, man. Let's move on to one more topic, man. We got to talk about Tory Lanez, man. Tory Lanez, the young rapper from out of Canada, looks like he will not get another trial. His motion was denied. He presented multiple arguments. I think I counted 13 arguments that he presented through one of the most expensive lawyers that money can buy. And his motion is denied. And it looks like he's going to be sentenced to state prison in June. So did you heard any news about that?
Yeah, I checked it out, man. A few of it, you know what I mean? But I did hear the one, I believe the prosecutor or somebody shared that, part of it was the 5 shots. Had it been 1 or 2, they would have looked at it a little different, but 5 times, was excessive. Not to mention, no judge wants to be or DA wants to be, upped by, putting everything through a trial, getting a conviction, and then coming back, getting it overturned, So at the end of the day, he might have been better off on appeal or something like that, but to come back and request a new trial after they deemed that it was successful the first time, I'm not mad at him for trying at all, but at the same time, they shut it down.
Yeah, here's a clip of Prosecutor Alexander Bott right after Judge David Hereford denied his motion. Take a listen.
Do you feel that's appropriate for the nature of the crime? You get that?
My job as a deputy attorney is to enforce the laws as they're written by the legislature, so I don't really make those decisions.
I'm asking you as a human.
So I would say that anytime you point a gun at somebody, pull the trigger 5 times, that's an action that could easily kill a person. I think that's an action that deserves serious consequences. Right?
But that's not necessarily.
I'm going to cut it right there because we had people interrupting, but basically the prosecutor is saying that this is a serious offense, even though no one was killed. Somebody shot a gun 5 times into someone's direction, and that requires some sort of prison time. Do you agree with that?
I understand what he's saying, what I mean? But it all depends on how much prison time, you know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and say that dude shouldn't go to prison or dude didn't commit a crime or nothing. I ain't going to say that, you know what I mean? And he didn't put a number on it. He did just say prison time. Prison time can be 2 years, you know what I mean? Which I would think would be great, you know what I mean? So don't let me just sit here and say, making it seem like he said, but he did just say some prison time, you know what I mean? So I can agree with what he getting at. If the guy was found guilty on that, you're going to go to prison, bro. You know what I mean? But I just hope they don't try to stretch him out.
Well, he got found guilty of 3 felonies: possession of the gun, discharging the gun with gross negligence, and then assault with the gun that created great bodily injury (GBI), and then 2 gun enhancements.
Mhm.
All of those can be ran concurrently if the judge deems so. So the max of any of those, the 3 felonies and the 2 gun enhancements, the max is 4 years is the max on assault with GBI.
Mhm.
So he can get 4 years and everything run concurrently. And I think that might be a sentence that both sides would be happy with, the defense and the prosecution.
I don't know. I don't know if the prosecution would be happy with that. In fact, I don't know if the judge would be happy with that. I'm gonna tell you what I think it's gonna come down to in the back of the judge mind. Dance, bitch. You know what I mean? That's gonna be a factor. That you had malice. You had you was clowning. You was on some other shit when you did that. You know what I mean? You wasn't crying and closed your eyes and just squeezed the trigger out of hurt or something like that. Dance, bitch. Okay, they gonna take that into consideration in the back of their head, and just like they Eric Holder got 6-0. You know what I mean? This judge might come back. I mean, okay, this dude gonna dance in prison. You know what I mean? And so I think he may get a little more than that, but I don't think he warrants a little more than that. But you're still talking about man shooting at somebody, in California. So we gonna see.
Well, that dance bitch quote that you just mentioned, that only comes from one person. That comes from Megan herself. Kelsey says she didn't recall hearing that, and neither did the witness that lived on the street. So a lot of people kind of just disregarded that statement, but that doesn't mean the judge disregarded it, right?
Damn right it don't, because remember that stuck in my head. You know what I mean? And because what people don't understand is, when they hear some of this evidence, a lot of things is intent. How much malice was involved when you committed this crime? You know what I mean? If you run up in the bank crying and saying, my son got liver cancer and it's the only reason I'm robbing this bank, and you run out with the money and you get caught, best believe, you're gonna still get some time, but damn, this dude's son had cancer. He needed some money for this. But you go up in there and just be like, I need stripper money, bitch. You know what I mean? Give me the money. All these things is took into consideration, when people are getting sentenced. You know what I mean? People think they don't, but they really do. Somebody was to do something to you or me. We not gonna not remember the words that was said. You know what I mean? You're going to remember the malice that they had, the way they treated you, the whole 9. And it's going to make you feel a certain different way if somebody rob you and say one thing opposed to robbing you saying, bro, the only reason I'm robbing because I'm hungry. My kid's hungry. That's the only reason I'm robbing, opposed to just, you know what I mean? So it ain't no different in these courtrooms, man. So I'm going to see how this judge, if he going to stick by the rules and, go by the time guidelines that they got in these cases, and see what kind of time he come out with. But if he come out with 4, he did all right. He did good if he come out with 4.
Now, we got a comment here that says that Tory did not say dance bitch. Both witnesses testified that he never said that. And let me just clarify, just because Kelsey didn't hear it and just because Sean Kelly didn't hear it doesn't mean it wasn't said. Megan testified that that's what was said. So
right. And
we don't really know the truth, but you can't say you can't say Tory didn't say it. You can just say, I don't believe Tory said it, but we don't know. We don't know if it was really said.
Well, the thing I'm going to tell Relly Sunshine is I appreciate the comment. I wasn't there. I can only go by what Megan say he said. You know what I mean? And she said that in open court. And
Correct.
the judge and them heard her say that in open court. And she could have been lying. You know what I mean? But once you say something in open court, I mean, that just by them saying it can stick in the mind because it's stuck in my mind. You know what I mean? So sometimes that somebody can blurt out something. It could just not be true, but that don't mean a juror or prosecutor or somebody else won't believe it. But I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate the comment, really.
And one of the reasons why it wouldn't be on audio is because the audio that was presented in court was from a camera that was shooting on the inside of a house, and the inside of the house picked up the gunshots, but couldn't pick up any of the conversation that was going on. If you enhance the audio of the gunshots, you can hear people screaming, yelling, saying something, but you can't make it out. So whatever said on the audio, we don't know, but you could definitely hear 5 gunshots on the audio.
Okay,
So,
no doubt.
yeah. A lot of people are very this case has divided people. I mean, even in spite of all the evidence, there are still people that says Tory Lanez is innocent, even though 3 people put the gun in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have that. You know what I mean? Like I said, still people to believe. They think the other girl, what was her name? Some
Kelsey.
people still some people still believe Kelsey shot the gun. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I'm always an advocate for saying this. I still don't think we 100% know the truth just because everybody testified on what they testified to. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of trials, man, to go by. I've seen a lot of convictions, and they never still got the 100% truth. It was always some shit left out. It was always some shit wasn't said. It was also always some shit wasn't done. So at the end of the day, man, like I say, I'm not for the people who don't believe he's guilty. I can't say nothing to him. You know what I mean? Because like I say, we wasn't there. We really don't know. All I'm saying is he was convicted of it. At the end of the day, that's what we can go by. And I'm saying I hope he get that less than 4, that 4 or less. I don't think he deserved more than that. You know what I mean? Just to be honest with you.
Well, in this situation, we know for a fact that somebody in that SUV shot the gun, and you only have 3 choices to pick from: Jaquan, the driver, Kelsey Harris, the friend, or Tory Lanez. Jaquan is excluded. No GSR in his hand. He's excluded. Now you have 2 people left: Kelsey Harris, Tory Lanez. And if you look at all the evidence that was presented in this trial, it all points to Tory Lanez. And trust me, I'm pro defense. I work on post-conviction cases where I try to assist in getting people out of jail. So it bothers me to say that Tory Lanez is guilty, but that's what all the evidence points to. I mean,
right.
There's no way around it,
Well, the evidence also points towards too that those were real bullet fragments in her foot. You know what I mean? And if that's the case, he did shoot her. You know what I mean? That's what getting shot is. Whether they fragments, whether the whole bullet go through, any piece of a fragment hit you after somebody shoot a gun towards you or at you, you've been shot. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, to shoot somebody is what he was found guilty of. So to shoot somebody and get 4 years or 5 years, not saying that he was going to get. So if he did get more, he shot somebody, Alex, or that's what he was convicted of. You know what I mean? So, this California, man, you know what I mean? And they give a motherfuckers time for shooting people. You know what I mean? Even if he didn't do it, he's been convicted of it. He wouldn't be the first dude who was convicted of some shit they didn't do. You know what I mean? He's going to get the time for it. You know what I mean? So like I say, they had overwhelming evidence in their favor saying that this is what we going to do. And that's what they did. June 13th, which is a date that I'll never forget. You know what I mean? I was sentenced on that same day. So we going to see what he come out with. And I just don't believe under all the evidence and circumstances of what happened that he deserved to get stretched out.
Oh, I 100% agree. I don't believe that this is an offense that someone should get sentenced to significant numbers of years in prison. I know that some people think that the minimum is 9 years, that he's going to get at least 9 because the prosecutor said the minimum was 9. But what people don't understand, the minimum is 9 when you add everything up. That's assuming that everything is run consecutively. The judge has the discretion to run things concurrently.
No doubt.
So it doesn't have to be 9 years. He could run, he can get the max on all 3 of those cases. That would be 4 years, 3 years, 3 years. That's the max on those 3 felonies.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 10 years, right? Yeah, 4, 3, and 3. So he could easily get the max on that. That's 10 years. But he also has 2 gun enhancements. So the gun enhancement could run concurrent to the 4, 3, and 3, or he can get the minimum on these 3 felonies, which I doubt he's going to get, right?
Mm-hmm.
The judge will most likely not give him the minimum. The minimum on these is like 2 years each. But let's say he does get the minimum, 2, 4, 6, runs that consecutively. That's 6 years, and then he runs the gun enhancements concurrent, he could end up with 6. So there, I was doing the math on this, FG. There's literally he could end up with anything from 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years. But he get anything from 4 to 20 years. Where do you think the judge is gonna go on this?
Like I say, man, it's California. They don't play with them gun. They don't play with them gun laws, man. You know, but being that he is a celebrity, being that they were very intoxicated, you know, being all the circumstances that happened that night, they may take all that into consideration. I just can't say, me personally, I think they gonna hit him with about 6, 7 years. You know, me personally, I think they gonna give him 6, 7 years. I'm gonna go with 7 years. Like I say, to me, that's too much. But I mean, I've been in California all my life, been in these court systems, and when you discharge a firearm, man, they take it serious. So I'm gonna go with 7.
Now, let me ask you this. He's got a great attorney, Jose Baez, the guy that defended Aaron Hernandez, the NFL player. He got him acquitted of a couple murders. I don't know if it was 1 or 2 murders he got him acquitted of. He defended Casey Anthony, got her acquitted of killing her daughter, allegedly. This guy, Jose Baez, is going to come to court on June 13th, and he is going to present an argument that Tory Lanez has never been in trouble before. He has never been to prison. He has no felony convictions. He is a father. He is the primary source of income for his family. He is going to go through a litany of reasons why the judge should not stretch him out. And I know for a fact his argument is going to be compelling. Do you think that will have any impact on the judge, because this is a high profile case?
Well, that's the problem. It's a high profile case. You know, I believe dude is a great attorney. You see, he got Casey Anthony still on the street, you know, partying and shit. You know what I mean? While our baby did, you know. So at the end of the day, man, you know, he's definitely going to shut it down in that courtroom. But at the end of the day, you know, the judge is under a microscope himself. He's under the spotlight himself, you know, and at the same time, you know, he's going to set precedent that you know, I don't give a fuck who you is. You can't come to California with that bullshit and act this way in these neighborhoods. You know, you wasn't in Watts, you wasn't in Compton. You know what I mean? You was somewhere where the rich folks stay at. You know what I mean? Doing this shit. You know what I mean? They gonna take all that into consideration. If they was on El Segundo and Avalon, it probably wouldn't be a problem. You know what I mean? But when you bring this shit to the upper class where people pay all these money for these taxes and these $1 million homes and you pull this shit, it do make a difference. So I believe that he going to put the most compelling case down, but I do believe the judge is going to, you know, make sure that he stands firm as well, just based on he don't want to be known as the soft ass judge itself. So, but like I say, I'm hoping for the 4, you know what I mean? But I'm going to say 7, you know, if I had to put a number on it.
Well, let's go back to the Eric Holder case. The sentencing was just a couple months ago. John McKinney, he asked that judge, I want 60 years, which was, I felt like that was just significant amount of years to request. And the judge gave him the 60 years. And some people think it has to do with because he's from 60s. There's a little message he's sending there. But the prosecutor in this case, he seems like he's an understanding person. So I don't know if the prosecution is going to say, look, Your Honor, this was a serious offense. He was using a gun. I was listening to Streets and Scholars the other day, and FG said that when you use a gun, that's a serious offense, Your Honor. And I am asking this court to give him 15 years. I could see the prosecutor actually doing that.
No doubt, but at the same time, man, you know, this judge been paying attention to everything, man. This what he do for a living, man. You know what I mean? Like I say they don't play in California, but also in California, they not a stranger to these kind of cases coming through. You know, they not a stranger to understanding that celebrities do stuff sometimes that's, you know, out of their character. You know what I mean? They realize that this dude's never been in trouble. He's not a felon, you know, and things of that nature. They're going to take all that into consideration. But, you know, according to trial, he shot a woman. So that's going to carry more weight than anything. You know, they're not going to say it was a piece of fragment. They're not going to say, you know, he shot at the ground. At the end of the day, he got to say he shot a woman, you know, and I got to sentence this dude for basically shooting a woman. And to even walk out with 7 on shooting somebody nowadays in California, you know, is decent.
Yeah. I want to get to this point, this comment right here. Do people know that Megan initiated the whole ordeal that right? And I will agree 100%. I actually agreed on another podcast, and I got accused of victim blaming because in this case, Megan is the victim, but also in this case, Megan started the whole thing. But unfortunately, the law does not. The law doesn't care if you started a conflict, if you started an argument. If someone pulls out a gun and shoots, it doesn't matter what the victim did. But I 100% agree. Megan should have left Kylie's house like instructed to. The security should have took her home, and she should have never returned. If she would have never returned, Tory wouldn't be in this situation. But she returned. She returned with aggression. She returned turned up, and then the whole night went left after she returned.
No doubt, but you already know, Alex, that it don't matter who initiated it, don't matter who provoked it, it don't matter who swung first. It's always going to be the person that retaliates that's going to get caught. You know, that's everywhere. You know what I mean? You look at the NFL when something happened, it's always the dude who hit back to get penalized, you know, and this ain't no different from the streets, you know. At the end of the day, you got a million people out there that's also saying just because she started it, I don't care if she slapped him and spit on it. Did she deserve to get shot? You know, that's what, you know, average American people are going to say. I believe we are siding with Tory Lanez, you know what I mean, just based on, you know, the evidence showed that, you know, he, you know, probably didn't know what he was doing and all that. But at the end of the day, the conviction came with he shot somebody, and they gonna take that seriously into consideration. Man, she had attorneys too, you know, and her attorney's gonna get up and say some shit or was in the prosecutor ear, you know what I mean? That, you know, I know you guys are not gonna let this just ride out like this. I know you guys are not gonna just let this guy get away with, you know, shooting my victim. You know, they gonna have their shit to say too. So that's why I say, man, you know, I don't think he gonna come out with 4. You know what I mean? That would be nice, you know, just based on, I know he didn't intentionally mean to do it. You know, I believe in forgiveness as for somebody who messed up at the time. He fucked up. You know what I mean? They was drinking, they was drunk. You know, they had a love triangle going on. It was a whole lot of shit going on. Yeah. But at the end of the day, bro, you know, you discharged a firearm in California in these white folks' neighborhood. They gonna make you answer for that.
I know that Jose Baez is going to argue for the minimum sentence on this, and I think he's going to present a very compelling argument that I would probably. I always want to give the minimum sentence when there's no harm, no foul. When I mean no harm, no foul, no one is dead. Yeah, she got shot in her foot. She's not going to have permanent damage in her foot, so that's a good thing. Her foot is going to make 100% recovery. Probably already made.
Yeah, she already back shaking her booty. Yeah.
Yeah, the doctor already testified that there was no nerve damage and that she should recover. So something like this, I do not believe it warrants 10 years. More than 10, not even 10 years is too much to me. I think the minimum, I mean, that's why they have the minimum sentences. They have a minimum, a medium, and a max. And they have these 3 sentences for each of these 3 felonies to look at the circumstances of the case. Does this case really warrant a maximum sentence or a minimum? Why does the state even offer a minimum if the judge is not going to consider a minimum? Why is the minimum there, FG?
No, I mean, it's great that the minimum there because of certain circumstances, you know, they do give people the minimum. No doubt, all the time. You know, it ain't always us. You know what I mean? You know, it's people that we don't ever see on TV behind closed doors, you know, walking out of courtrooms in this same situation with probation, you know, or like you say, the 2 years, we going to give you the 2 years and run everything concurrent with the 2 years. You know what I mean? It's happening all the time. But this case was nationwide, you know, California, gun was involved, a person was shot. They're not going to make it seem like they soft on crime so the next dude can get up there and say, well, shit, man, I only shot her in the foot. Tory Lanez only got this. Why can't I get that? You know, so like I say, I don't believe he should get it, but I do believe 7 is coming his way.
Okay, we'll definitely be on top of this case. He's going to get sentenced on June 13th, but within the next week or two, both the prosecution is going to submit their sentencing memorandum, which will basically outline what they want the judge to sentence. Then after they submit their memorandum, the defense is going to respond with theirs. And then the prosecution's got to make a decision if they're going to seek restitution in this case. Can you help us understand what restitution means for all of those out there that are tapping in?
Basically, restitution is a fine that you're going to pay for the crime. So many different variations of restitution. I remember back in the day, I had to receive stolen property. I bought a stolen car from somebody and got caught with it. So they wanted me to make restitutions to the car owner in order to pay back for the stuff I took off their car. And in this situation, restitution can be anywhere from all the hospital fine bills, emotional stress, therapist, in this case, it could add up. They could, add up to millions of dollars or at least $1 million. So, depending on what she went through to, like I said, if she saw any therapist or she saw how many doctors or any specialists and things of that nature, she would want to recoup her money or and that's what basically the restitution would be, him paying her back for any money that she spent, and or emotional damage,
The judge asked the prosecutor, are you going to be seeking restitution? And the prosecutor said, I'm not sure yet. Let me get back to you on that. So after hearing what you just said, I guess that means the prosecutor is going to get in touch with Megan Thee Stallion and say, hey, how much did all your expenses, surgery, and we're going to hit him with whatever it cost. And man, that could easily be hundreds of thousands, if not, as you said, maybe. I think $1 million might be a stretch, but
right. Me too. Yeah, but still,
in the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, they're going to put the extras on it, and at the end of the day, that may not be the problem for them. The problem would be the millions that you're not going to be making while you're sitting in the jail cell. See, that's the thing about celebrities, Alex. When they get caught, it's not just so much that you have to go sit down for a year. It's the money that you're missing when you go sit down for a year, because if they give you a significant amount of years, everybody can't come back out and make a hit record after you come back out of jail. You know what I mean? Or something can happen in jail where you got punched in the throat or something, and you can't even make music no more. You know what I mean? So, so many variations of that, man. So it ain't just the time. That's why they would rather pay the fine, or that's why he said, allegedly, I'll give you $1 million if you say this, that, or the other. You know what I mean? Because he know of all the money he would be missing out on, by sitting in prison.
Yeah, a lot of people had asked me the other day when I went live, does this mean the end of Tory Lanez career? He's 30 years old, so it all depends on how many years the judge gives him on June 13th, whether he can bounce back and jump right into music. What do you think how many years is it risking his career that he gets sent to prison? What I'm asking is, what's the minimum sentence you think he can do where we can get back out and still be relevant?
You know what? It all depends, because sometimes, unfortunately, people don't like to hear the real, but unfortunately, this could boost his whole, it could boost his career. You know what I mean? He come home, all the Tory fans, you got to put something out, we love you, and he go do it and they just buy it anyway. You know what I mean? But it really depends on how talented you are at the end of the day, man. Some of these dudes can go sit down. I know a lot of people haven't heard of Garth Brooks, but he stopped entertaining when his daughters was about 6 years old, I believe, said he wasn't going to perform again and make no more music until they graduated high school. And he did just that, made an album soon as they graduated high school, and it stole hundreds of so some people can do it, some people can't, so it all depends on how talented he is and who's willing to work with him when he come home. I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, but he's 30, so the closer you get to that 40 years old, if you ain't really popping like Jay-Z, Snoop, it's hard to stay relevant after 40 years old as a hip hop artist.
You're right.
If he's gonna sit down for like 3 or 4 years, he'll come back. If he's only sits down for 3 or 4 years, 4 or 5 years, comes back when he's 34 years old, 35, he's talented enough to jump right back in there. But if this judge gives him a 10-piece, man, I think it's very difficult to come back into this music. You know how different the music is going to be in 10 years from now.
But is he just a hip hop artist? Don't he do a little producing and things of that nature? You know what I mean? So it all depends on if he's just a hip hop artist, then you're absolutely right. That could easily fade away. You got these young cats already coming through the game, taking over with the different sounds. So yeah, you absolutely right. But if he, was doing some producing, or he was doing some management, or he was doing he's going to find a way to come back in the game some kind of way, even as a manager, even as a, you know what I mean? So he gonna find something to do.
Yeah, one more thing I want to add before we wrap this up. The prosecution is going to have impact statements that are going to be presented at sentencing on June 13th. And the they're anticipating it's going to come from Megan. The whole question is she just going to do? There's 3 ways she can do her impact statement. She could write it, submit it to the court, and then they read it. She could do a video and submit that to the court, or she can show up like she did for trial and do an impact statement. I think it's highly unlikely that she would actually show up in court. But if this was a Cardi B case, Cardi B is coming back because Cardi B is relentless. When she's on top of this civil case where this girl was saying negative things about her, and she's seizing everything from her $50, $600, $100. But I don't know if Megan is as petty as Cardi B. Do you think Megan would actually come back to court and give an incredible victim impact statement?
You know what? She just might. She didn't already did what she did, man. And those impact statements really hurt. You know what I mean? Especially when somebody come and do it in person. You know what I mean? If she did it via video or she did it via phone call or something like that, that's one thing. But if she make it back in person and she get up there and she put on that, you know, I can't call it the act, but I have seen her get super dramatic, you know, and she get up there and get to crying and doing all that, you know, he shot me. And, you know, man, that's going to pull on some heartstrings somewhere, you know, and so that those statements, man, you know, hurt, you know, they really do, opposed to her not even showing up and just saying I'm done with it, whatever gonna happen to him gonna happen to him. So definitely we gonna see if she show up, and I think that'll hurt him more than, you know, than anything.
Okay, Charles and Jazz ask, can the witnesses that came to testify for the retrial hearing come for the sentencing to help lighten the sentence? And I would say no, because there were 3 witnesses that that Jose Baez wanted to put on during the hearing the other day: a DNA expert, a creative artist expert, and another one that was for the motion for the new trial. So that has nothing to do with sentencing. So we won't see those witnesses. But Jose Baez can bring character witnesses, like maybe his dad. His dad could address the court. Or you know, anyone that family related. The only type of people I think that Tory would bring are character references and people to say how important he is to the family. Other than that, there's really no one else that he can bring to court.
No doubt, you know, like you say, somebody from the family to say how remorseful he's been since he's been, you know, locked up and things of that nature, man. So, but like I said, at the end of the day, don't forget you're gonna have Meg's statement if she come do one, and that's gonna outweigh a whole lot of, you know, his character, you know what I mean, you know. So
man, if she shows up in court in person, boy, it is
gonna be ugly. Yeah, you got another question up there. Can Megan and Kelsey be charged with anything? I don't think so. They weren't on trial. They wasn't charged with anything in the beginning. A lot of people say Megan lied a lot. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, I didn't watch every, you know, nook and cranny of it, so I can't say what she lied about or what she told the truth about, but it wasn't about her. She was the victim in this case. Even if she lied, they're not going to double back and try to hit her with a false accusations or nothing of that nature. And Kelsey, I think she just going to slip through the cracks, even though I believe she lied too. But other than that, I don't think they could be charged with anything. What you think, Alan?
Well, Megan definitely can't be charged with anything. She didn't do anything illegal, and the lies that she told in court didn't reach the standard of perjury. Her lies didn't change the jury's verdict. In fact, when you read the 80-page motion that Jose Baez filed, none of Megan's lies was even addressed because they were inconsequential lies.
Right.
And so, but Kelsey, the only way Kelsey could be charged is if we could prove she shot. If she's the shooter.
Yeah. That's a whole different something else. But yeah, that's unlikely that'll be done. If it haven't been done by now, it's not gonna happen.
No, and the only way to get to the truth of that is if Jaquan, the driver, testified, and for whatever reason, the defense decided not to put him on when he did come to court. I'm not sure if he came late, but they could have put Jaquan. Here's another important thing. If Tory wasn't the shooter and Kelsey was the shooter, don't you think Tory would have been calling his security? Jaquan, you need to come to court.
Hell yeah.
And Jaquan did not provide any information regarding that. So hey, there was a comment here that they want you to post more content, FG. I don't know where it went, but someone said that they want to tap in with more of your content. You haven't been posting.
No, no doubt, man. That's on me. I don't have no excuse. You know what I mean? But to be honest with you, Alex, I really want to get back to posting, but I don't want to sit up every day telling, jail stories and criminal stories and, things of that nature, man. I want to have some content to it. You know what I mean? I want to have some kind of education to it, or I want to have some jokes and we laugh about it. So what I'm going to do is what I'm going to do. Okay, Miles, I appreciate that. This what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up my StreamYard. I'm gonna get to the point to where I could tap in with multiple people on screen like me and Alex does. And that way I can get y'all some of these G's, because it's hard to go out and find the homies or people and take their time and take your time to sit down and do a lot of these situations. So I'm gonna hook up my StreamYard, man. I'm gonna start tapping in with a whole bunch of dudes and getting a whole bunch of their opinions on, what's going on in some of these situations, man. I promise you I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that today and set that up. And I have something out real soon, man, because it have been a while. I appreciate you though, okay, Miles.
And let everybody know, man, where they could tap in with you, those who are new to Streets and Scholars.
Man, tap in with me, man, on Instagram at FGeneral1. You know what I mean? I'm still on YouTube with videos at FG Unleashed. Like I just told K Miles, man, I'm finna definitely, put some more content out, man. I do have the homies even saying, FG, where you at? So, man, let me get back on my thing and bring it back to you. But that's where you can reach me at FGeneral1 on Instagram if you got any questions or ideas, or just you want to share something for me and Alex to tap in. We also on Streets and Scholars on Instagram at streets.and.scholars. You could tap in with us on there, you know what I mean? And we definitely always on there looking to see what you guys got to say and where they can reach you at, Alex.
Yeah, definitely tap in with me at Alex Alonso 101 on Twitter and on Instagram. I was posting a lot of tweets during the Tory Lanez hearing. So if you're wanting to keep up to date, I do live tweeting on there regarding Tory Lanez. Also, I just posted I did a video before the Tory Lanez hearing regarding whether or not the likelihood of Tory Lanez even getting a new trial. And I want a lot of people to go and tap in with this video, because I did this a few days before the judge even ruled on that. And I pretty much outlined it the same way the judge outlined it. And I got accused for siding with the judge. But how could I side with the judge when I posted this video before the judge even made his ruling? So,
okay.
Yeah, go tap in with this video. It's entitled, "Will Tory Lanez be granted a new trial?" I went through all 13 errors that they posted up in the 84-page motion. And also they filed a supplemental motion, and everyone thought there was going to be new DNA. It was going to be new evidence, but there was nothing spectacular in the supplemental motion because they filed it under seal. So tap in with me on those videos on StreetTV, the StreetTV YouTube channel, and we'll be posting some more clips of Streets and Scholars right here on StreetTV. And thanks for tapping in with another fire episode of Streets and Scholars.